Hello, forward thinkers, and welcome to another episode of Expats Unpacked. Today, I'm here with Ekaterina Korneeva. She's an enterprise customer success manager at Wrike, among many other things. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ekaterina, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Paulus.
So to start with, I know you've lived and worked across multiple countries and sectors. So what brought you to Cyprus, and what does home mean to you today?
The home definitely means Cyprus to me. I believe I came through all the circle of thinking that maybe that's temporarily because we moved 3 years ago. The company relocated the main office here in Cyprus. So we have, maybe that's not the main office, but we have about 200 people in Cyprus and as a part of the Rikers. And first I thought maybe that's temporarily. Initially I was supposed to be working in Prague. And then I think I started to love it more and more, but then the August hit and it was so hot and it was a bit like different climate, etc. for me. So it was hard in the beginning, but then it was a beautiful winter. I calling my colleagues in Dublin and I see how crazy the weather is there and how happy I am in Cyprus. And I even told all my doctors that I feel much happier. I believe the Cyprus sun affects somehow my hormones. So yeah, I initially moved because of work and I believe I stayed because of life.
That's amazing. And I know that you're learning Greek.
Yes.
So you must be serious about staying. So I believe you. So you've managed high pressure roles, both in corporate and NGO places. How do you stay grounded and avoid burnout while also, juggling purpose-driven work?
I think that you mentioned the answer among the question. So that there should be the purpose behind that. I joined NGO after a year since I work at Wrike. I always did some volunteering, either online or on site. And I thought, how else can I be more impactful in my job or in my role? So I like skills-based volunteering rather than just, maybe, planting trees or cleaning the beaches is also a nice and engaging activity, but it's also cool to implement your skills. So because I manage mostly like enterprise clients, I thought, what if I work as a partnership manager for an NGO and try to find more donations? How I manage the burnout? I don't know. I think I have a lot of support from my family and from my husband who take care of the daughter when I do my online work, etc. But also it's very rewarding. The most rewarding thing for me from the volunteering part, we have the monthly calls, and in the monthly calls I see the number. The NGO I work is basically 2 clinics in Latin America. So I see how many patients we treated throughout the months, and I know that my grant writing or even cold emails, they kind of resulting in these treatments, because if someone supports us more, then we can help more people.
Yeah, it's amazing that you managed to find the time to also volunteer while having such a position at Wrike. And you said that you prefer skills-driven volunteerism, which is very interesting. Do you think that there are any NGOs or initiatives in Cyprus that you would like to see more people volunteering?
Definitely. I heard about, I think it's called Cyprus Rescue. That's an initiative we try to mirror from the Israel, where they educate people how to provide the first medical kind of taking care of the patients before the emergency arrive. Like what should you do first in order to save life of the human before the professionals comes and paramedics. So I believe if you sign up for this initiative, it's skill, but you need to grow your skill in understanding what to do in this case. But then they significantly saved life, in Israel. And I believe if we implement it in Cyprus, we also can help more people before the medical help come. So you need to learn how to do, or what should you do, or maybe what should you avoid of doing. And that's one of the initiatives. I think they started just this year, and I would love to also join them.
I love that. I love when expats come to Cyprus and then they find a home in Cyprus and then they give back to the local community. I think it's just so important, to bridge that gap between expats and locals. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your work at Wrike, because you've mentioned to me briefly before that you work in IT, but you don't have an IT or computer background. So how does that happen? How does a non-computer person end up working in IT?
I'm just smart. I'm joking.
No,
so I studied in math school, and we did a lot of coding there. but I don't do anything like that at Wrike. When I came to Wrike, they more were asking me how do I communicate, or if I like to work with customers, what I do in like tough situations, etc. So the customer success manager is mainly connecting the dots between the customer and the product. Of course, because I've worked for many years, and if you don't provide any value, you're not going to succeed. So I know the platform and I know how they work. So let's say I'm somewhere between the educator, consultant, account manager, customer manager, and the company pays me for the revenue. So I have to make sure we keep the revenue. So the way the SaaS business operates, you pay once a year, and then next year you can say bye-bye to their company. And company doesn't receive much from this year because it's small. And before, many times ago, you used to install software on premises. So as a customer success, I help customers to onboard platform in the most efficient way. And I hope by my actions, they're going to renew for the next year. What I think is cool about this one, you don't need to understand how to code. You need to understand the software. You need to have some soft skills to, engage the right people in front of the customer and provide a value. And of course, every software has its maybe disadvantages. Sometimes you need to explain why you can't do certain things in the way the customer wants. But I really want to highlight that there are many jobs in IT where you don't need to have the technical background, and where people skills are very important.
Excellent. That's a good point to make for our audience that might be interested in getting this, because usually their IT jobs are high paying. So, everybody can apply as long as you're smart and you have people skills. So what role can AI and SaaS tools play in improving, health education, sustainability outcomes in underserved regions, according to, your opinion and from your experience, because you have like 7 years of experience with customer service, if not more.
But you asked initially about AI, am I correct? I think with AI, like everybody talking about AI, the minute before I left my home to record this podcast, I was writing an article on LinkedIn, because yesterday we had a Women in Tech event and we were talking only about AI and actually how AI can bias, etc. So there are multiple angles or how you can look at it on AI itself. From the tech perspective, I believe every company implementing AI. There are some companies, I'm analyzing my customer database and I can't name them, but you definitely use their products, you know them. Some customers are looking and thinking if we should do. Some are afraid to put any piece of data in AI because it's going to use it for the learning purposes and maybe can cause any harm, especially if it's sensitive data. But they believe you still need to understand how it works and you need to implement, because that's the future. Otherwise, you will be very much behind. You also ask about sustainability. There are multiple things AI do. I know a startup which were recently in Cyprus and they do AI doctor. So for low-income countries such as like Latin America, where we have the NGO, that might be the solution, because most of the people, not in the villages, but in the big cities, they do have the funds, so they can download an application, and they might have enough funds to pay for small consultations. Or it can be enough that AI tells you the signs that that's the point you really need to go to doctor, no matter what, and maybe you can be less worried. But of course, this decisions always, it's hard to fully trust AI in these decisions. But if we think that alternatively they have zero knowledge and zero help, that might be much better.
Yeah, so it's not an accurate diagnosis, but at least it can steer you into the right direction.
Yes, right direction, right doctor, or maybe increase the worrying level which you have, or ask you for additional symptoms, etc. So that's about medicine. And then sustainability. So last year I joined a climate week in New York City, and I hope to join it this week because I'm very much into their NGO and sustainability world. What Google was sharing that they do, one they have analysis of the globe, of how the Google Maps and how the land is changing, etc. They can also predict certain earthquakes or floods, etc. And AI can predict which areas will be affected, so you can more effectively evacuate the people. So there are multiple ways where AI is useful. Last one to mention, like out of the conference, usually I wait many days for photos. Yesterday, you could have them live on the conference just by scanning your face. The machine learning could analyze your face, and AI will send you photos directly to your email box. So I was able to publish my article today, or I could even do it tomorrow, yesterday night. I had my photos immediately because AI recognized my face and just pushed photos on my
sent you everything that was yours. I think it's important that you mentioned that because a lot of people, there's a big conversation around AI. People are afraid, is it going to take our jobs? Is it going to take over the world? But there are many functions of AI that can really improve our lives. If we focus AI, on healthcare, if we focus AI on, all these things that you mentioned, like earthquakes, there's a tremendous amount of benefit that can come from this technology if used properly. And I'm glad that you're doing that in collaboration with NGOs in Latin America and in Cyprus. So can you share maybe a project or a moment where your tech background directly helped you drive social change? I know you said a little bit about your work in Latin America with the healthcare system, but anything else, anything in Cyprus?
Anything in Cyprus. I think in Cyprus is mostly the events I'm joining, such as Women in Tech and maybe the mentorship program they also raising, where I can hope if someone will be directed to me, then I can share that IT career is wider than it's just coding. The people's skills might be even more important or more valuable. That's one part. So far, most of my volunteering happens online. I had recently 4 projects with United Nations, and it was all tech skills / mentoring, etc. So recently I mentored maybe 8 mentees from mostly sub-Saharan and African region, which do the projects related to climate. It's called Youth for Climate Initiative, and it's founded by UNDP in Rome. And my tech skills helps me to analyze their proposals, their data structure. Honestly, I never come on a call with mentee before I send it to AI. So I do myself the review, I highlight the points, and then AI fine-tuning it. For example, they were missing cells on the budget spreadsheet, or they might miss the accompanying the budget, what do you spend your money for, etc. So in combination with AI, and of course you need to proofread what AI gave to you,
course, yeah.
I can give much more meaningful mentorships, combining my overview and with some AI insights. It was really helpful, and I was much more efficient. So I did, I think, in a month, 8 mentees. It was before I would spend maybe 2-3 hours to analyze just one work, and now it was just 30 minutes. I saw the highlights, what they can improve, and then I kind of could share my expertise with more people. But it's mostly globally, so it's not only tied to Cyprus. If there is an organization where it can be helpful, I'm really interested to learn.
So how do you match with the mentees as a mentor?
With UN projects, they match you. So you highlight where you're expert, because Wrike is a project management software. I kind of understand what should the project structure look like, and we advising customers a lot. So project management is one of my skills. Then impact measurement and management. I did a course at Duke University. We do it for my main NGO where I work for the yearly reports because our donors want to see our numbers, etc. That's another expertise. And I think the grant writing, I never wanted to be the grant writer, but sometimes it's easier to approach an open call rather than knock in closed doors. So that's what I also telling my mentee. But I also believe because I have the people skills, I telling them very honestly, like, they shouldn't be the perfect proposal, but if you show, most importantly, how many lives you impact and that your project is sustainable, so it's not going to finish after 3 months, you're more likely to receive the funding. So UNDP, I think they gave 30,000 euros for the youth project. So you have to be very young, your project should be very ambitious, and then you receive the money to implement it.
And have a lot of passion.
And a lot of passion, but also have the right number in the proposals.
Yes.
So the passion is not enough.
Yeah.
You need to put some
backed
background.
By data, backed by research. Excellent. So can you tell me a little bit about Wrike, what Wrike does, what's your involvement, and maybe if you see any trends that are happening in that industry?
Yes. So Wrike is a project management software company. And I believe my company wouldn't like if I mention it this way or if I frame it this way, but we are a collaborative platform. Because before you used to manage project by just listing tasks you need to complete, and then it comes to the point where if you share the task with other people, they actually need to collaborate on the platform to find out what's going on with this task, etc. We recently acquired a company called Klaxoon, so now it's a part of Wrike as a tool which provides you the whiteboarding capabilities when you building different blocks and analyzing the journey, maybe customer journey, etc. So we have multiple tools as a part of the platform, and we are mostly focusing on enterprise customers because we are we have so many features which are relevant for the bigger size companies. When you're scaling, you need so many automations, integrations, etc. The trends I see, number one is a consolidation, because before people used to use our competitors in different departments, it was completely fine if you have 100 tools. And now people try to stick to one source of truth, which is not always easy, because I know Wrike very much. I mean, I worked for 7 years at Wrike, almost 8, and I know our competitors. And sometimes it might be better to split between 2 tools and then be more efficient rather than
trying to fit everything
in one tool. But consolidation, one thing. Then trying to minimize amount of tools you have. Not only put all people in one tool, but also, okay, we use ChatGPT probably, we use Wrike or any workflow management platform, and then we use a Teams or a Microsoft package, and we give up of all other, Zoom or anything else.
CRM systems.
Yes, CRM. You probably need CRM. If you ask me, I would suggest you use Wrike and CRM, and of course the Microsoft package or the Google package. Companies trying to pay less. We definitely, even internally, we had much more spendings on different tools. Let's say if I believe this tool will help me just a bit, I could easily purchase it. Now I have to fight, and I know everybody across there, at least in Europe and US, we have to fight if we want new tools. Only a couple of industries they are booming. The rest, you have very little amount of tools, and you have to find your ways through with those tools. But also AI is actually changing it dramatically, because you used to have different tools for every single thing. And now AI can do half of what different tools used to do. So unfortunately, I believe some tools will be less and less common. I can give you an example. I use Grammarly. I'm not a native English speaker, and I like to write nice emails to my customers. And recently, we use our Google, our Gmail package. Recently, Google introduced help me writing.
Gemini,
and I use it very, very often. Of course, it doesn't correct my tone of voice immediately as much as a Grammarly does. But it good
does
enough.
Make Grammarly, less important to pay for,
And the Grammarly Enterprise subscription is quite pricey, to be honest. And this one with Google comes for free. So I'm not sure.
Always assess. Yeah, we do the same. We do the same with, Canva, and then we had a different software for video editing. But do you really need both? And of course, one is better than the other in certain things, but then you just have to make a compromise somewhere, I think.
Exactly. Also, I believe your world or the content production is changed significantly. I'm joining the webinar actually tomorrow about the content and how different content creators operate now. I'm more interested into LinkedIn, because I think that's the area where I can showcase my professional skills. Rather than on Instagram is mostly my daughter in my wake surf classes. But so that's actually about Cyprus. It would never happen to me if not Cyprus.
Really?
I mean the wake surf, not the daughter. The daughter happened before.
Would happen anywhere.
Yes.
All right, let me ask you some fun questions about Cyprus.
Okay.
What's your favorite place in Cyprus to recharge and reflect?
I think it's similar to most of the Cypriots, is my balcony.
Your balcony.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing that we have balconies in Cyprus?
Yes. And also I live in Aglanja, which is the area in Nicosia. It's on the hill, and I have the view across almost all town.
And the mountain.
And the mountain. And also I don't see the sunset. It comes a bit on the side, but I see the clouds and everybody who comes to me. Or if I meet any... how do you call people from Limassol?
Limassolians.
If I meet any Limassolians, I always tell them that if you want to love or fall in love with Nicosia, you need to come to my balcony. Because it's so much air, and that's the best place. If I can sit there for 5-10 minutes, I can recharge. Another one is more fancy. I only been there once, but I really want to come back, as a St. George resort in Paphos. Because I like the calm atmosphere, and also it's quite big. There are so many things to do, and it's quite calm. And they have the kids club.
Yeah, that's a big bonus.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that you live in Nicosia, because most expats live in Limassol. They take advantage of the sea. But are you in Nicosia because of Wrike, or?
No, not only. I think I'm sorry for Limassol, but when we came there to see initially, I thought like there are so many expats, maybe I should live in Limassol. It was a day of the marathon, so everything was closed. It was already quite hot, I think in April, maybe plus 30 degrees, like not normally hot, like above the average. Everything was blocked. We couldn't park. It was so many cars. It was so noisy. It was so hot. I was like, no, I just can't go there.
Can't do this.
And at least for now, I definitely can't do there. I don't know about the journey moving forward. And when we came to Nicosia, the quality of building was much better. Our first apartment, we also had a view across the town. It was very nice. And I remember the same day we found their school and their apartment. It was much easier. And also I like the structure of the city. I use a lot of facilities such as, I don't know, the gym. My daughter has a lot of like classes. And everywhere I drive is like 10 minutes. The longest I drove today is maybe to see you. So it was like 15 minutes. And before, back to my hometown, I used to drive like hours for work. So I believe with my relocation to Cyprus, I kind of had back 2 hours of life every day, which I don't spend driving. Yes. So I never done as many things as I do now in Cyprus, only because I had this extra 2 hours.
Oh. Did you have your daughter in Cyprus?
No.
How old was she?
When we moved, she was 1 year and 10 months.
So was
almost
it easy to have a child in Cyprus, to adjust? Is she learning Greek? Is she in a public, private school?
It was hard, but I think it's much easier than in the Nordic countries. I'm coming from St. Petersburg. It's very cold. It's very near Finland, so you can imagine the temperature there. So you need to put multiple layers on the kid or baby before you enter the house. And Cyprus is much easier. I think it's much easier to raise a child. You just go drive on the beach and you, I don't know, building castles and you relaxed. And for me, because I'm quite, you might see from my reactions, I'm quite a nervous person. I like to control things, and it's so easy on the beach compared to when you need to put multiple layers, check if it's not too hot or too cold. That's one thing. She is currently in a British school, so she's learning English and Greek. And I just saw her report from yesterday that basically she learns 3 languages simultaneously. It's a bit confusing. Like some numbers she says in Greek, some numbers in English. She mixes these parts. But I think throughout the years, she made a great progress thanks to her teachers.
Yeah, and I think, in a few years, it's going to be amazing that she'll be able to speak 3 languages. Okay, so do you have a book, a podcast, a movie, anything that changed how you see the world, what your perspective is?
Initially, I thought about the recent podcast I heard from the Diary of CEO.
Oh, yeah.
I love him, and he had a podcast about the AI and how we should be conscious about the AI. I'm sorry, we're going to speak about the AI, I believe, for the next decade every time. There were many insights how you should use the technology and where you have to be very careful about what kind of data you put, etc. So that was significant for me. I think the podcast about AI came maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, so that's very recent. Now is June, so
it's probably already outdated.
Yeah,
how fast things move.
Not that, but they had a great expert. But what maybe changed my life, there is a movie called Girls Rising, and that's where my passion is. It's about girls across the world. They don't have an access to education sometimes, or they're limited with resources, and how if you provide them some access to education, or if you invest in them more, how the economy can grow as well as their households or just individual families. It was I watched this movie 15 years ago, and it was a time when I understood it's not all equal in the world, and then it's kind of part of maybe my personal mission. I want to provide access to the basic education to every kid in the world, and I see what I can do to influence it. But it's definitely started after I watched the movie called Girls Rising.
That's amazing. So what would be a piece of advice that you would give to either other expats thinking of coming to Cyprus, or young girls that would want to have, a managing position like you in a big corporation? I would spread it into two questions. Yes.
Don't listen to Limassolians. Try to explore Nicosia, especially if you like services, etc. I have Half of my friends live in Lima, so I hope they're not gonna kill me for that. But there are the benefits. Even if you need to drive to the sea, there are other benefits in the town, and it's very welcoming and might change your perspective of life and how easy you live in the town. That's one thing for those who are considering to moving to Cyprus. And for the girls, I believe everything is possible, and you don't have to. For me, it was insightful that some barriers we have in our head is just because you don't even imagine that is possible. I give you one small example. Not sure if it's going to be the past part of podcast, but still. I traveled to Australia this year. And before that, I was reading a lot of articles, books, and also the videos. And there were many people who did the gap year in Australia, and they were serving koalas or working in the parks, etc. And when I was a child, or when I was maybe like teenager, I have never even thought that you can work for a year in Australia to gain an experience. I mean, this thought was out of my bubble. I thought you can go to university, maybe have an internship within the company, and travel to your the closest country you have. So because it was my bubble. So as more you can do to expand your bubble, your thinking, or your level of possibility, as I think bigger results you will get. So as more you normalize things like working in Australia for a year, I don't know, taking care of koalas or, I don't know, working in IT or, yeah.
I think that's great advice that, the sky's the limit. As long as you believe it, you think it's possible, then it can happen. Ekaterina, thank you so much for talking to us. Do you have any closing remarks, anything else you want to mention that we didn't cover in this conversation?
I think we cover most of that. It's just if anyone is interested into the volunteering, online volunteering, etc. I'm quite active on LinkedIn, and I try to answer anyone if somebody is approaching me or adding in the contact. So I'm happy to help, and someone wants to learn how to be more impactful in things they do through the daily life.
Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for watching another episode of Expats Unpacked. You can follow and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Until next time, keep inspiring.